Hello everyone, this is Pikel with League of Items, and I'm going to take a shot at editing the ESPN Esports global power rankings because they are in desperate need of editing. I'm not saying that the changes that I'm going to make are going to turn this into the best article ever, but I'm going to see what I can do with what they've provided. And to be honest, they haven't provided me with very much. So first up, Top Esports, the number one team in the world. Before the team's stunning loss to V5, it seemed as if Top Esports were on their way to roll through the entire LPL season without dropping a single match. So I think the main thing that they're trying to communicate here is that before they lost to V5, they looked like they could go undefeated for the entire split. Let's change it up. Let's change it up a little bit. Say one must ask themselves. One must ask themselves. One must ask themselves. One must ask themselves. If Top Esports didn't trip over Victory 5 and their well-endowed bot lane, would they have dropped a single match this entire split? A little bit more fun as well. Even with their fall to the unexpected title contenders in V5, Top still stands as the most complete League of Legends team in the world, boasting top 5 players at their position in almost every role. Even after their shocking loss to the unexpected title contenders. You don't need to say V5 again. It's already assumed. I'll use their acronym. Top Esports still stands. It should really be Top Esports is still undoubtedly the most complete League of Legends team in the world. And then you could say, just start a new sentence. Why are you not starting a new sentence? Boasting top 5 players at their position in every role. Panda, we're editing. I'll be with you shortly. Boasting top 5 players at their position in almost every role. The team's crown... you don't really need to say the top 5 players part, but it's fine. I'll leave it in there. Boasting top 5 players at their position in every role. Knight remains their crown jewel. Knight remains their crown jewel. It's not called Majai's Soul Stealer Notebook, right? Yeah, it's not called Majai's Soul Stealer Notebook. Like, what is this guy even saying? Boasting top 5 players at their position in every role, Knight remains their crown jewel. Putting... Knight remains their crown jewel, putting his Majai's Soul Stealer Notebook to good use? Like, what does that even mean? Knight remains their crown jewel. Knight remains their crown jewel and will look to put the dark seal. So I'm making a... No, Mike would rather write a novel. Yes, I would rather write a novel. Knight remains their crown jewel and will look to put the dark seal, which is a reference to Medjai Soulstealer, but is more accurate because it's a play on words, because he's trying to seal his entry into the World Championship. Knight remains our crown jewel and will look to put the dark seal on this put the dark seal on his first league championship before heading to Worlds. Before heading to his first World Championship. So obviously not great, but it's taken me 5 minutes to fix that. They should pay an editor to fix it, but they don't. Victory 5. There's almost always a team in the LPL that rises through the standings early in the split due to schedule or the fact that their opponents simply don't study or ban out their strategies. Every year, there is a team in the LPL who rises through the standings who rises up the standings. The standings due to their opponents' inability to study, inability to game plan or ban correctly. Last split, we had E-Star. In 2015, we had Snake Esports. See, this is what we should do. We had Snake Esports. Now, we have V5, now we have V5 taking advantage of their easy schedule. Christian 1496-66, welcome. Now we have V5 taking advantage of their easy schedule. Now we have V5 taking advantage of their easy schedule. Many have expected V5 to stumble against better competition. But when faced with the task of taking down top esports, the best team in the world, top esports, V5 looked their best. V5 looks more flexible each match, led by their jungler. Weiwei, and their oppressive bot lane duo Sam D and PP God. Their upcoming schedule is a gauntlet of playoff caliber teams facing off against Invictus Gaming and Sunning. They've already knocked out their most formidable opponent. But let's see if they can prove... But let's see if they can maintain their form against... But let's see if they can maintain... Let's see if they can maintain their form. They've already knocked out their most formidable opponent, but let's see if they can maintain their form. They've already knocked out their most formidable opponent. But let's see if they can maintain their form against less... no. It's really not a great way to end it. I'm not sure why she went that direction. Their upcoming schedule is a gauntlet of playoff caliber teams facing off against Invictus Gaming and Sunning. They've already knocked out their most formidable opponent. But let's see if they can maintain their... Okay. There we go. I fixed it. Their upcoming schedule is a gauntlet of playoff caliber teams. They've already knocked off... I'll say knocked off, not knocked out. Knocked off their most formidable opponent. But let's see if they can maintain their form against Invictus Gaming and Sunning. But let's see if they can maintain their form against Invictus Gaming and Sunning. All right. Now we're done with two teams. This one should be faster. The Mad Lions, like the rest of Europe, were off this week. They'll look to add to their They'll look to add to their league best 7-2 record in the LEC when they play when league play resumes. They'll look to add to their league best 7-2 record in the LEC. They'll look to add when league play resumes. They'll look to add to their league best 7-2 record, taking on G2 and XL next week. A little bit better, but I'm not trying to change the world here. DRX, where do I begin with you, Dragon X? 1 week I'm praising... You should just say you again. 1 week I'm praising you for your intelligent drafting and strong answers to Aphelios that make the most... And strong answers to Aphelios. 1 week I'm praising you for your intelligent drafting, comma, strong answers to Aphelios, and making the most of your solo laners. Period. The next... I'm heavily criticizing you I just did the math. This stream is finished in 13 hours at the minimum. Well, I'm not doing all 47. I'm doing the top 10. I'm only doing the top 10. They don't do blurbs for the other ones. But I will do that at some point. I'm heavily criticizing you for picking overly tricky compositions that get run over by KT Rolster and top laner Smeb's emergency Maokai support. Then you hold off a Rising Damwon Gaming in a close 2-1 with more coordinated team fighting and smarter engages. Where do I begin with you, DragonX? 1 week I'm praising you for your intelligent drafting, strong answers to Aphelios, and making the most of your solo laners. Then next, I'm heavily criticizing you for picking overly tricky compositions that get run over by KT Rolster and top laner Smeb's emergency Maokai support. Then you hold off a Rising Damwon Gaming in a close 2-1 series with more coordinated team fighting and smarter engages. Make up your mind already. Putting whatever you think about the draft duality, this should be in italics because it is kind of just like an aside. Putting whatever you think about the draft duality of Coach CV Max. Putting whatever you think about the draft duality of CV Max aside. DragonX is still a top team. DragonX is still a team that is in flux. Doran has been shaky, but jungler Piosik has looked more coordinated with the team overall and is making more. But Piosik has looked more coordinated with the team. That's a weird sentence. But Piosik looks more coordinated with the team and is making more and has made more and is making more of mid lanes and is supporting mid laner Chovy's map pressure along with support Ryu's roaming. That's a pretty horrible sentence. Like, you're just kind of name dropping at that point. Like, let's just say something instead. Chovy himself has continued to evolve into a more well-rounded mid laner, and DragonX's bot lane can go up against any LCK bot lane. Chovy has continued. Chovy is continuing to evolve as a mid laner. Is continuing to evolve into a more well-rounded mid laner, while DRX's bottom lane can take on anyone. There's a lot to like about DRX, but can they hold off late split surges from the likes of Gen G and T1? Only time will tell. Cloud9. The dream of a perfect season once more is over. Pretty weird sentence. The dream of a perfect season is over once more. Like, no matter how you word that, it's not going to be a very strong sentence. The dream of a perfect season is dead. Like, I just don't like this sentence, really. The dream of a perfect season. Oh, see, this is why you know. This is why you know that I am the best. The dream of a perfect season has been stolen from Cloud9. The dream of a perfect season has been stolen from Cloud9 by 100 Thieves. After beating TSM in one of their one of the best teams in North America, C9 let their guard down and were picked apart by a after beating TSM, the dream of a perfect season was stolen from C9 by 100 Thieves. That's funny, Panda. That's pretty funny. The dream of a perfect season after beating let's do it like this. After beating TSM to start the week, Cloud9's dream of a perfect season was stolen by 100 Thieves. Led by former C9 jungler contracts, the reformatted 100 Thieves finally tarnished C9's otherwise immaculate record. Although a setback for a team that went 17-1 last split, who were aiming for a spotless campaign, the added pressure of being flawless is now gone. Although Cloud9 may be better off now that the pressure of being perfect has dissipated, but one can forgive Cloud9 for being disappointed in letting a perfect season slip through their fingers after beating most of their harder competitor after beating most of their rivals. Hopefully Cloud9 will be able to grow from this experience and be the best version of themselves for the playoffs and a hopeful trip to Shanghai for the League of Legends World Championship. A little bit better. Nothing crazy. Second place Rogue was off last week with the rest of the LEC, and will return next week to take on XL and Schalke. Nice. We'll leave that one alone. Despite... Oh, well. See, this is the most important thing to change. It's actually 7, not 8. Despite their 1-2... But despite their 1-2 loss... 1-2 series loss to DRX. I actually see both Damwon and DRX as pretty much equal. Despite losing to DRX, it's difficult to separate. Despite losing to DRX, it's difficult to see it's difficult to see much of a difference between the top two LCK teams. The issue with Damwon seems to be the consistency of their... The issue with Damwon seems to be the team's ability to win when their solo laners don't perform as well as they normally do. Ghost has done well to compensate for some of their shortcomings, but was unable to make up the difference against DRX. On a positive note, Damwon Gaming absolutely slaughtered Afrika Freaks with Canyon putting on a show. He's had a remarkably strong split thus far. I would just say this summer. Especially when comparing to his lackluster spring. Both Damwon and DRX are good and interesting. Both Damwon and DRX are interesting teams who have the potential to be something greater and will both likely compete for the LCK title if they can remain consistent. Yeah, tough to really do much with that without completely changing it. Do Fun plus Phoenix still belong? I'll say in the top 10. After losing Do Fun plus Phoenix still belong in the top 10 after apparently forgetting the existence of Elder Drake and losing to Vici Gaming? Does Fun plus Phoenix still belong in the top 10 after apparently forgetting the existence of Elder Drake in their loss. In their loss to Vici Gaming? Maybe? Here's the thing. We all know what FPX are capable of, winning a world championship. Perhaps the most important thing to remember from their world championship run is that it wasn't always clean. Remember their day one loss to J-Team when everyone was calling them 2015 LGD? Pepperidge Farm remembers. I think for the joke, all you need to say is Pepperidge Farm remembers. FPX is never going to be a clean team, even when they're at their best. Some worrying things from this week. One worrying thing from this week was the inability for FPX to perform when Doinby wasn't able to deal significant amounts of damage on some of the tankier choices that made his playstyle famous. In other words, he's much better in this meta on the Rumble mid or on Rumble or TF than Nautilus. Despite no 2 week, FPX are likely an LPL playoff team and one that could be dangerous if they shore up their mid. Despite an 0-2 week, there is no doubt. FPX are still likely an LPL playoff team. Who could compete for a title once they shore... Isn't it sure up? Okay. Once they shore up their mid jungle synergy and jungle support roams. Both of which were integral in their 2019 run. Invictus Gaming. It has been a bumpy but successful summer split thus far. Let's just change the order of the sentence. It'll sound better. The 2018 World Champions have enjoyed a successful summer split thus far. The 2018 World Champions have enjoyed a successful summer split thus far, but have experienced their fair share of bumps along the way. Rookie didn't look like himself in the spring, but has turned back the clock and looks like he has regained his form as a world-class talisman. Rookie has put IG on his back several times this split, especially in matches where the Shy dies 15 times top lane or Puff disappears in a cloud of smoke. Rookie isn't the only world champion enjoying a return to form. Baolon, who lost his starting job to Southwind, has finally taken back his spot in the starting roster. Rookie isn't the only world champion enjoying a return to form. Baolon, who lost his starting job to Southwind, has finally taken back his spot in the starting roster and has gone 3-1 so far. Rookie isn't the only world champion returning to form. Baolon, who lost his starting job to Southwind, has gone 3-1 after finally taking back his spot in the starting roster. And then JDG, it has been an awkward post-title season for the Devils of JDG. The Devils of JD Gaming have had an awkward post-title season. The Devils of JD Game have had an awkward season following their spring championship. The team is... You can't just say though. Even though the team is still firmly in the conversation for World Championship contenders, they've seen little fanfare following. Let's just say they've seen little fanfare. They've seen little fanfare. Everyone is transfixed. Everyone is transfixed on top esports. On top esports' dominance, or V5's rapid ascent from winless embarrassment to legitimate contender. Everyone is transfixed on top esports dominance and V5's rapid ascent from winless embarrassment to legitimate contender. The perfect combination to allow JD Gaming to lie in wait and no. The perfect combination. Wait. Everyone is transfixed on top esports' dominance and V5's rapid ascent from winless embarrassment to legitimate contender, which allowing JDG to lie in wait, allowing JDG to take care of business quietly. Their 7-2 record has them a game behind top esports in the standings. The world can chatter about... Wait. A game behind top esports in the standings. Their 7-2 record has them a game behind top esports in the standings. Not really important. The Devils of JD Gaming have had an awkward season following their spring championship. Even though the team is still firmly in the conversation for world championship contenders, they've seen little fanfare. Everyone is transfixed on top esports dominance and V5's rapid ascent from winless embarrassment to legitimate contender, allowing JD Gaming to focus on improving. To focus on taking care of business. I mean, I wouldn't use that phrase, I don't think, if they didn't, but it's whatever. To legitimate contender, allowing JDG to focus on allowing JDG to take the world can chatter about Knight or PP God all they like. Until someone eliminates JDG from the upcoming summer playoffs, the Chinese championship goes through the Devils. The world can chatter. The world can chatter about Knight or PP God all they like. But until someone eliminates JDG from the summer playoffs, the Chinese championship goes to the Devils. But unless, not until, someone eliminates JDG from the summer playoffs, the Chinese championship will go through the Devils. The world can chatter about Knight or PP God all they like, but unless someone eliminates JDG from the summer playoffs, the road to the Chinese championship runs through the Devil's Den. Runs through the Devil's Lair. We'll say Devil's Lair. All right. Well, that is how I would fix the ESPN Esports top 10 blurbs. That went on a shocking amount of time. I'm going to clip this video now and send it to ESPN Esports just to see how they respond. So thanks for watching. I'm going to take a little break, and then we'll get into the stream.